Brock Purdy, to use your line, Wilds, is not a thermostat. He's a thermometer. And when the team's awesome around him, he'll look awesome. And when the team is average around him, he'll look average. And this has been my take all along. It is why last year Christian McCaffrey, not Brock Purdy, was the most valuable San Francisco 49er, as evidenced by this year. Christian McCaffrey's not there. The offense isn't the same. Then when he gets back, no, but he wasn't there. I'm saying, but he wasn't there for a long time. Then he comes back, but doesn't look like old Christian McCaffrey. Team's not the same. Guys, we are going to follow the exact same, and he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo, but the exact same narrative path, where we argue about this adamantly. It was the theme of our entire summer football coverage was Brock Purdy debates. Yeah. And then years later, when we look back on it, folks are going to pretend they didn't say things they said. That it wasn't that his ceiling is the Hall of Fame. Chris Broussard.
It is.
I'm
not backing up from that.
No, not yet. But I think eventually.
You mean like you backed up from Caleb and the Bears?
Listen. I was wrong. So here's the thing. I was wrong about the Bears pick. That's correct. We'll see if I'm wrong about Caleb. That Brock Purdy is Drew Brees.
Reminds of Drew Brees.
It was
that was it. Reminds of Drew Brees.
Dusty, can we play the clip? Because here was the debate about Brock Purdy and Drew Brees. Let's play it.
And here's a comparison you can put on my doorstep. Okay. Not Joe Montana, Drew Brees. I think this guy can be Drew, and I know what Drew Brees is.
Good.
This guy can be like a Drew Brees.
So there you go, Nick Wright, definitely questioning Purdy's ability and how good he is, and he's really just saying, when the team is great around him, when Debo's playing great, when Kittle's playing great, when McCaffrey is a beast and, in contention for MVP and, he's like the offensive player of the year, Brock Purdy looks amazing. He puts up these huge stats. He's got all these passing touchdowns. He's not throwing a lot of picks. He's got a ton of yards. His rating is really high. It's way up there. So, Nick Wright just kind of saying, hey, Purdy is not elite. It just depends on who's around him. So he said he's the thermometer, right? He's not really the one that's elevating his team, right? It's the team around him that is elevating Brock Purdy and allowing him to put up these insane stats. So, definitely when you look at how Purdy has performed this year, he definitely is not performing the way we saw him in 2022. Definitely not what we saw last year. 2023, his stats were insane. Very low number of picks, ton of touchdowns, really lighting up the stat sheet. His rating was way higher. Like right now, he's only rating, I think it's around a 95 right now, heading into this game, against the Green Bay Packers. So, definitely what we're seeing this year is not what we expect, not what we've seen in recent years and the first couple years for Brock Purdy. He was really lighting up the stat sheet and winning a ton of games. So, Purdy right now is also dealing with injury problems. He's having trouble practicing this week. I think in the earlier practice this week, he wasn't even able to throw the ball. I think he threw the ball a little bit yesterday, but he left practice early, so he's having this issue with his right shoulder. He's having this soreness. He's having this injury, so, it's definitely in question right now whether Purdy is going to even be able to play this Sunday against the Packers, which is going to be huge. There's this question mark for the San Francisco 49ers under center as they enter this crucial Week 12 matchup against the Green Bay Packers. Quarterback Brock Purdy sustained a right shoulder injury in the team's Week 11 loss to the Seattle Seahawks that head coach Kyle Shanahan classified as soreness. Purdy was limited in practice on Wednesday and Thursday, actually leaving early or, having to leave practice. On Thursday, he didn't throw at all on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, a little bit of throwing but leaving early. Shanahan said in an interview on KNBR, he was explaining that Brock is still limited. He didn't do as much yesterday, but did a little bit more today. So this was yesterday, according to Shanahan. He went out there and did a little bit and then went back in about halfway through and rested up. So not able to complete that practice yesterday and continue to throw the ball throughout that entire practice yesterday. And Kyle Shanahan says hopefully he will be feeling great on Sunday, be able to go on Sunday, and hopefully be able to, be 100% on Sunday, I mean, Niners are really going to need it. It's interesting that Shanahan said Purdy left the field to rest. There's no real clarity on whether this is a maintenance issue. So we'll kind of see, come Sunday if he's able to go. If it's the former, he should be on track to play Sunday in Green Bay. If it's the latter, we may see the team turn to backup quarterback Brandon Allen in the biggest game of the season. Friday isn't liable to provide a ton of clarity unless Purdy practices in full and isn't on the injury report. So yeah, we don't know what we're going to find out today, from Shanahan. He could also be listed as questionable, which could leave the lingering question mark hanging around until inactives are announced 90 minutes before kickoff. So kind of the way this thing is going this week with Purdy and his injury, this could definitely be a situation where we really won't know if Brock is going to go until game day, right? Until this, mark 90 minutes before kickoff. We might have to wait until then to really see if Brock is going to be feeling good enough to go. I mean, he definitely needs his health. The Niners continue to deal with injuries. We got people missing time here. Kittle wasn't able to go last week, which was a huge loss. I mean, who knows if George Kittle was able to play in that game against the Seahawks, he may have gave them the boost they needed to get over the top and to close out that game. But, you got Debo missing time here. You got McCaffrey missing time there. Guys on the defense are getting hurt. Hufanga is still missing from the equation right now. So just, the season from hell when it comes to injuries for the 49ers. Just defensive injuries, offensive injuries. Special teamers are getting blasted. I mean, Jake Moody missing all those games. And then, they sign another kicker. He comes in, he gets hurt. Like, the Niners just, in all facets of the game are really struggling with injuries this year. And it's really showing up. I mean, if you look at some of the rankings of their offense and their defense, they're just not quite what we're used to the last couple of years. The 49ers have these 2 Super Bowl runs within the last 5 years, losing to the Chiefs twice. And, it just doesn't look like the same team. It just doesn't look like they have that same vibe, that same energy, that same confidence, that same explosiveness. I mean, if you look at Deebo Samuel, he hasn't done anything really this year. Really struggled last week against the Seahawks. So I want to know, what do you think about it here? What Nick Wright is saying about Brock Purdy, him being a thermometer, kind of showing you what's around him. Or is Brock a difference maker? Is he the one that elevates the people around him? I mean, with all of these injuries the 49ers have had this year, is Brock Purdy elevating those other guys that are having to step in and play in the place of people like, George Kittle, Debo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, all these people that have to fill in? Are these types of players actually producing more because they have Brock Purdy as their quarterback versus another quarterback like a Jared Goff or a Jalen Hurts or a Patrick Mahomes? So I want to know, what do you think about it? Let me know in the comments section. I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this, and I will talk to you soon.